Well, they often say if you've got to keep a game in check, you go back to the bullpen. Well, that's what Mike Stanton and I are doing, talking about the Astros in the AL. It is a tight race going to the last 6 games of the season. Let's get there right now.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, and I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat a low in the way you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walking back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to
bullpen. Oh, yeah. I got off there for a second. What's up, Mike? We are back to the bullpen. And, last time we talked, the Astros had not done so well. I was actually I was at the game Sunday night, and it didn't go well. But, Mike, tell everybody where they can find you before we get started.
Yeah, there's only one place, that's on X, and it's Mike Stanton 29, the old 2-9er. Yeah, I think what happened over the weekend, the best case scenario, first, they have an off day. Second, they get the heck out of town.
Yeah, they need to leave home quickly, right? It was not a good showing. I mean, you had the grand slam, you had the 2-run homer. I mean, Cal Riley is continuing his historic season as a catcher. I don't think any catcher's ever had as prolific home run season as him. I mean, 58 home runs. He shatters King Griffey Jr.'s record, which was actually set in 1998. And people forget that Griffey was in a dead heat with Sosa and McGuire until the end of that season. And I mean, I remember that. I've got my jersey sitting right above me, where I got him to sign it on his 33rd home run that year. It was the 11th upper deck home run shot in the Astrodome, in Astrodome history. So,
yeah.
But, Mike, what's cool about this conversation is we're getting closer to the playoffs. You have been through the playoffs. You've been through the ups. You've been through the downs. You've been in pennant races. And so the Astros sit where they would like to not be sitting, their backs against the wall. And I want to get your take on this. I always have said and held this line all year long, that if there's any team that can do something, it's the Houston Astros, because they have seemed to defy the odds. This run still isn't over yet, but it continues to sputter along. The team they have now, is it different this year, or is it just going to be the Astros are going to come through again?
Oh, of course, it's different every year. I mean, even if you have the exact same personnel, well, the team one year to the next is not the same. Let me touch on the reasoning behind why I said they need to get out of town. Players are always looking for a reset. They're always looking for, whether you change series, you change opponents, whatever. And, the Astros over the years, not this year, but over the years have always been a better road team. But, when you play at home, there's just a lot of pressure. And I think what we really saw over the weekend was a Astros offense that was sputtering, which it's been doing that off and on all season. But I think we saw a white-hot Seattle Mariners team that has listen, I don't want to say playing up to their abilities. They've won 14 of 15 or 15 of 16 or something like that. Nobody's that good, okay? They're just hot and everything's going their way right now. But I would say that over the years, the Seattle Mariners have been underachievers. They've always had more talent than showed up on the field or showed up, on the scoreboard and where they are in the standings. Well, this year is a little different. They have gotten hot and they seem to be a very good team. It's something that we thought was going to happen a long time ago. It just has taken to 2025 for them to show up. But you know what? They're done with the Mariners right now. They don't need to worry about them anymore. What they need to worry about is winning their baseball games. Actually, what they need to do is they need to win tomorrow night. That's it. They don't need to worry about the rest of it. They don't need to worry about the Indians. There is some silver lining we're going to get to here in just a minute, but that's why I said, players are looking to reset. They need to clear their minds. They need a new beginning, and getting out of town might not be the worst of things.
Yeah, exactly. And I had mentioned that earlier on Locked On, like, Mike, whenever I coach a team, no matter what sport it is, I always tell them, like, our goal is to go 1-0. We don't care about what our record was before. We don't care what the record is of the team coming in that we're playing. Today, our goal is 1-0. And even if you want to break it down further, look, win that at bat, win that inning. It's like the old saying, and I don't know why this is stuck in my head, but the old G.I. Joe saying from the cartoon, knowing is
we're going G.I. Joe. I like it.
Knowing is half the battle. Well, hitting is half the battle. You can hit all you want, but you can get 13 hits like the Astros have shown and only score 3 runs. You've got situational hitting has got to be there. You've got to have guys like Jesus Sanchez, who has hit 189 since coming to the Astros. You've got to have Christian Walker not swinging through 97-mile-an-hour fastballs down the heart of the plate. I mean, you've got to have Jeremy Pena's got to come back. I mean, they said it was a 2-day thing when he went out with his oblique soreness. He was actually scratched Sunday.
Yeah,
something happened Saturday night. So there are a lot of little things that will factor in to their game Tuesday versus the Athletics. And they basically have to go out and take care of business because nobody's helping them across the finish.
Well, like I said Saturday night, our last podcast, what did they need to do on Sunday? They needed a lead. Get an early lead that will take pressure off of everyone. Listen, they've played against the A's very well over the years, but the A's are no pushover. This is a team that's got some good young talent, and they're going to have to play their best baseball. And the whole idea of the situational hitting, that's been an issue. Well, it's an issue for every team across the board because nobody carries a really high batting average for runners in scoring position. It just doesn't happen. But the number one thing they have to do is first keep giving themselves opportunities. Yes, those are frustrating days. They go 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position and leave 7 on base. So it seems like they've got guys all over the base paths all night long, and they just can't do it. But guess what? At least there's opportunities, because if you don't have any opportunities, then you are not going to win the baseball game. I don't hear you.
There you go.
You go.
Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here. That's just it. And with Christian Javier going in the first game, the advantage is you're on the road, so you get to hit first. Put a crooked number.
You get a chance. Yeah.
Put a crooked number.
Mel Stottlemyre used to tell the offense back in the Yankee days, don't send the starting pitcher out there naked. Meaning, give them a run to work with. Had nothing to do with not having any clothes on, but give my starting pitchers, give them something to work with because they can just be more aggressive. And playing from behind, I've always said this: there's no such thing as a team that's built to play from behind,
right.
Especially a team that was limited offensively coming into this season.
Exactly. And that's where I think the Mariners have been capitalizing. They got Victor Robles back, who has actually been really good for them. Their trade deadline acquisitions, phenomenal this year. Getting back guys that used to be on their team and now are a big part, Suarez and those guys. So, Julio Rodriguez stepping up real big for the Mariners. He was a ghost of himself in the first part of the season. So they are hot at the right time. The Astros have the ability to get hot as well,
sure.
And look, you just hope that Altuve's seeing the ball well. Mike, I don't like him in the 4 spot, but I think we can probably dissect that later.
To me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, because the opposing pitchers are not pitching to the spot in the lineup. The opposing pitchers are pitching to who the hitter is.
True.
Now, does that change if Jordan's in the middle of the lineup? Absolutely, that changes. You're going to throw differently to the guy in front of him. You're probably going to face the guy behind him and throw the ball a little bit differently because a lot of times Jordan was on base. So, that's a little bit different. I'm not a big fan of Jose being in the leadoff spot because he doesn't see enough pitches. He just, he's Jose. He's going to go up there and he's going to hack. He's going to throw the barrel. He's going to, swing it, the rosin bag if the pitcher threw it up there. Now he may get a base hit, but you want to make the opposing pitcher work a little bit more. So I'm not a big fan of Jose in the leadoff spot.
I hear you. Well, you know what I am a big fan of? I'm a big fan of Ram shirts, and you've got one. You've got the Back to the Bullpen official shirt. I've got the H-Town script Back to the Bull, not Back to the Bullpen, but Ram shirts product. And look, Mark's machine was actually down for like a whole week. And so look, if you've got a business or company outing coming up and you need something embroidered, you need a shirt, give Mark a call. Go to ramshirts.com. Check him out. Tell him Back to the Bullpen.
Very reasonably priced.
Oh yeah, definitely. And comfortable.
Yes.
Comfortable.
Oh, the prototype we were talking about the last time, the one you were wearing that just had it on the there on the chest. That's one of my wife's night shirts. She loves it.
There you go. Hey, it's so comfortable, right? But yeah, man. So thank you, Mark, for all you do with the shirts. So we got 5 teams. We got 4 spots. We've got some scenarios. The Astros only own one tiebreaker, and that's over the Blue Jays. I don't see the Blue Jays succumbing or giving up their first position in the AL. They've earned it. And
yes,
we're going to get to our last segment. Y'all got to hang in because we've got a new little segment called Pitch or Ditch, and I'm going to throw some things at Mike, and he's going to let me know if he's up to pitching or ditching these things. But as far as the American League goes, you've literally got the Guardians, the Tigers, and we'll stop there in a second. You've got the Red Sox, you've got the Astros, you've got the Yankees, and I would say the Mariners, but I think the Mariners are probably all but in unless they just totally tank. But let's focus on. I
mean, mathematically, they're 3 games up.
Yes. Well, technically 4 because they own the tiebreaker.
Well, right. That's true. But, the whole idea, really the whole American League is still up for grabs. Because no one has, including the Blue Jays, who have played extremely well. They've got a 2-game lead over the Yankees. So, it's awesome. This is how I always have wanted this. I want complete and total chaos. I want everything to go down to the very last. Now, this is the baseball fan in me, not the Astros fan. Because
right.
You'd love to have the Astros already clinch and you can set up your rotation and get some guys some time off. But I want, just nothing being decided to the 9th inning of the last day of the season. I want complete and total chaos.
No, definitely. Now, as a pitcher, as a player on a team, do you want chaos or do you want?
Oh no, you want to clinch like 3 weeks ago.
You're right. You want to be wearing October baseball, early September, right?
Yeah.
So right here, Chris makes a good point. He says, look, the Astros have the A's and Angels. Guardians have the Tigers and Rangers. Tigers have Guardians and Red Sox. Red Sox have Blue Jays and Tigers. One of these teams won't make the playoffs, and that's true.
That's the silver lining I talked about earlier, that they just, the Astros have the softer of the schedules. Okay. You're playing 2 subpar teams. Now, the A's have played them tough this year. The Angels, they still have Trout. They still have some players, so you never know. But if you look at the schedule of the other teams, they're going to beat up on each other. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't matter if the Astros don't win. They need to go out there and just win. But now, do they need to win all 6? I don't think so. I think 4 of 6. I think there's even a chance if they go 500. I think there's still a chance that could happen because these teams are just going to beat up on each other.
So let's focus on the Tigers and Guardians because they're up first against each other. those are two teams that I think one's going to knock the other out. And
The thing is, they've got two teams going in opposite directions. The Guardians have actually been as hot, if not hotter, than the Seattle Mariners.
100%.
And then the Tigers have been, doing a very poor job of treading water over the last several weeks because they had a big lead. And it was just a combination of, the Tigers not playing so well and not winning baseball games, and the Guardians getting hot and seemingly winning everything. I think they're like 16 of 17 or something like that.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this last time. You got Chris Castellani who covers the Tigers. He did some stuff with Locked On Tigers a while back. Does his own stuff independently. He's also worked with Barstool, but he literally is making song parodies about it's over, it's done. I mean, this guy, Chris, wears his Detroit fandom on his sleeve. And
the old English D.
Yeah, man, that city they've had some great teams. You remember when Scherzer and
Verlander
and Verlander, and then you had, why am I
Miggy's at first base?
Yeah, but they had like two other pitchers too that were just phenomenal. They had a lineup. That was a team that, I mean, everybody, I thought the Tigers were going to take it. But so Tigers and Guardians, hopefully that takes care of itself.
Where is that series?
So what do you mean? Like,
where are they playing?
Where are they playing? They are playing. It doesn't show me, but I can look on. You got it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not showing me. It just says they play versus each other. Thank you, MLB.com, for not being clear.
They're in Cleveland.
Okay. Well, Cleveland plays good at home.
The Jake. They don't call it the Jake anymore, but
no,
the field.
Yeah. Guaranteed rate or something. I don't know. Like guaranteed mortgage juice box stadium.
Yeah, so I mean, the Tigers are, even though they have the 1-game lead, it's hard to say the Indians. I put $1 in the jar. The Guardians are the underdog. I don't think you can say that. I think you look at how these two teams played.
Yeah,
the Tigers are going to have to go in there and buckle the chin straps because it's going to be a battle.
Now, this has been a conversation. You get in and you have a chance. With the Athletics knowing that, and with the Angels knowing that, are they coming to spoil the Astros?
Oh, party? Absolutely. I mean, this is what subpar teams, this is what you live for.
Okay.
Because I mean, you go to the ballpark every day, and I've been on teams, not many, but I've been on a couple teams that have been spoilers. And, you're always, like I said earlier, you're always looking for some kind of motivation, and, for the Astros, I said, get out of town. You're trying to look for, a reset, a new beginning, that kind of stuff. Well, the last year I was with the Cincinnati Reds, we were not very good. We were supposed to be better, but things just didn't work out. But when you play contending clubs, yeah, I may be going to play golf, come October 1st, but let's take somebody with us. And that is a strong motivator that you have the chance to knock someone else out of the postseason, and especially the Astros, because everyone loves the Astros. That's something that
they're America's team,
absolutely right? Hang your hat on. Absolutely.
Exactly. And speaking of the Reds are on the cusp of
the National League
playoffs.
Actually, the worst game in the history of sports, if the season ended today, the Reds would actually be in.
Wow. And this stuff just a month ago was, you're right, they would be the 6th seed. It would, and they would go versus the Dodgers. I know when we get to the playoffs, I'm going to have to comment on every team and try not to be biased, but it would be so hilarious to see the Reds beat the Dodgers in an ALDS.
Listen, we've talked about it many times, and I'm sure our listeners, our viewers have a tough, tired of hearing it, but once you get in, it doesn't matter, especially in a 3-game series. Listen, you have a bad, not even 24 hours or 48 hours. You have a bad 36 hours. You may be going home. 3-game series, I'm not the biggest fan of them. Okay. I was actually on board with the 1-gamer, get in, get out.
Okay.
But 3 games, okay, they were talking about going to 5. I think that's too much for a first round. So 3 is really the optimal number. But even a 3-game series, you have a bad couple innings, and yeah, you made the playoffs, but you're on the way home.
I mean, hey, us as a 6 seed, as Chris mentions. I mean, I remember a team back in the 90s, the Rockets came in as the underdog. They had been written off,
Sure.
I mean, and
Oh, we've had wild card World Series winners. So,
yeah,
like I said, once you get in, even though especially as a wild card team, no home field advantage, all that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. That's why it's just about getting hot again.
and I think too, that's why it's really cool to have Carlos Correa back in this lineup. When I was at that game Sunday night, I just snapped a picture. It wasn't anything spectacular, just Correa in the batter's box, Altuve at the plate. And I even tweeted it out, and I said, I still can't wrap my mind around the fact that Carlos Correa is back. I think it's great. I mean, Mike, he looks great at third base.
He does.
I mean, the Astros got they're gonna have a lot of decisions to make positionally, free agent wise, all that stuff.
Well, left side of the infield's not part of it though.
Yeah. True.
Because Correa's there. He's got another couple of years, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then same thing with Pena. Pena's still relatively young as far as his baseball experience is concerned. So left side of the infield set.
So, but you got Isak coming back. Are they going to put him at second? What are they going to do there? Christian.
Well, he's not going to play third.
He's not going to play third. No, he's not. Isak may have to learn how to play left field there with Jordan. But Mike, I want to do a little segment with you. We're going to call it pitch or ditch. Okay. And
so give me the rules. You got to let people know what the rules are.
Okay. So I'm going to give Mike a topic, or basically a question or a scenario. And if he pitches it, that means he's for it. Like he's thumbs up. If he ditches it, he's like, no. So I'm going to ask him pitch or ditch. H-Town Wheelhouse is the coolest co-host of all time. Then he would have to answer that. But you don't have to answer that, because
that's not an official question, right?
No, it's not. But you can give a good fake answer. Anyways.
Pitch all the way.
I love it. Okay.
So was that sarcasm or not?
That's right. Is it? Perception is reality, Mike. That's what I was told long ago as a young lad. All right, here we go. Your first one: pitch or ditch, Mike. You trust Framber Valdez to start Game 1 in a short playoff series?
I'm gonna have to say ditch. Okay, I mean, obviously there's some stipulations here. In a short series, you're asking me if I would like to have that happen, take him over Hunter Brown. No, not at all. Now, if it's him over, a bullpen day, of course. But, just to answer the question, I'm going to have to say ditch. He has not thrown the ball well. And it's not just his last, start or two. It's actually been going on for quite a while. Yeah. Now, again, but does that mean he can't go out there and dominate? Of course not. If he's he's been beat up with the sinker. And that's really been the big problem. He's given up 5 home runs in the last 4 starts, all on the two-seam fastball. So the command of the two-seam fastball is really the key. The curveball is still outstanding. The changeup is still good. But, you got to get that ground. If ground ball pitchers need to have the ball at the bottom part of the zone, and that's where he's had a problem. He's elevated the ball goes out of the ballpark.
Exactly. All right, your next one: pitch or ditch. Jordan will return before the postseason and contribute.
So tell us what the latest is on Jordan.
Dana Brown said it is possible for him to come back the last series of the regular season.
So that's the Angels.
Yes.
So he come back on, what would that be? Friday.
Right.
I don't know. This is a tough one because the baseball fan of me, it's an ankle. And the night it happened, he was on crutches and a boot. And now, yeah, you try and take the pressure off of it. But I can tell you, I watched that many times, and I watched it in slow motion, and that was an ugly, ugly injury. So, I mean, to tell you the truth, I thought he was already done for the year. The baseball fan of me, the Astros fan of me says, I'm going to have to say pitch. Absolutely. I want him there. I don't know. I just don't know if he's had enough time. So I may have to go ditch on this one too.
All right. So Mike's ditching that. And that's
I'm usually the optimist. You're usually the pessimist.
No, no.
Is that not how it works?
Okay. I don't know. I think I go back and forth. I say always positive, always Strohs, but
you say it, but it's not what you say, it's how you live. So
oh, wow. Golly. It's been a while since you've taken a dig at me, man.
Well, I couldn't do it last time out. You
Right.
You weren't feeling well, that kind of stuff. Now you're feeling better, so gloves are off.
Yeah, I should have totally come in here with a sling or something.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So here we go. Pitch or ditch. The Astros will clinch a playoff spot last game of the season.
I'm going to say pitch.
Okay.
I'm actually going to I'll take the high road on this one. And that's to tell you the truth, I think if they do make the playoffs, they do clinch a spot, it's probably going to be on the last day of the season. I know I said that, they go 4-2, they're in pretty good shape, even 3-3, but you really never know. And the Astros did not play very well over the weekend. So, what does that mean? It means absolutely nothing when you go out to Las Vegas. So we'll have to just wait and see what happens. But I'll say the Astros clinch a playoff spot last day of the season. Maybe not, but I'll say pitch.
Okay. I like that. I like it. Now, this is kind of a tough one because it deals with the employment of one manager. All right.
Yes.
Pitch or ditch. If the Astros fail to make the postseason, Joe Espada's job will be on the line.
Listen, managers' jobs are always on the line. But the interesting thing about this, there has been some talk and has gotten traction nationally that Joe Espada is up for the manager of the year in the American League. And now we're also talking about him losing his job, which that there is precedence there because Joe Girardi won years ago. He won a manager of the year and then also got fired. So it's not unprecedented, but I'm going to say ditch.
Okay.
No, I don't think, what has Joe done, to warrant that? Now, I understand you talk to any manager, a manager is hired to be fired, but the scapegoat, I don't think he's the scapegoat just simply because of all the injuries. And I think he's done a remarkable job of taking a limited team and getting them to the point they are in right now.
Yeah, no. And I think that's true. I just think, there are a lot of fans that they go, oh, well, Joe Espada just doesn't know how to handle the lineup and he's shuffling the lineup. I do kind of wish he would have stayed more consistent with where guys are hitting. But at the end of the day,
how could you do it?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that I'd have to look it up that he's, there's only been, maybe a dozen times that there's been the same lineup out there, but
that's true.
The roster has changed like almost on a daily basis.
Yeah, you're right. They don't have the same guys a day in and day
out. This isn't the Springer, Correa, Altuve, Jordan, Bregman. That's not that team,
Right.
So there's always some turnover, new guys coming in, guys getting hurt, whatever. And so it's kind of been an interesting season to say the least.
Interesting. Johnny says, hey, Brett, you barked at me when I told you I thought the Astros would probably make the playoffs in the last day. Well, Johnny, I don't remember that, but if I did, was it when the Astros were up by 8 games or something? Anyways, so, hey, you know what? I can introspect and I can say that I'm not always right. I wish I was, but I don't have that. Okay. So here's a pitcher ditch that has nothing to do with the Houston Astros, but it has to do with, I think, the team that going into the playoffs has got to be the favorite. And I think for the first time may legitimately be a true favorite in the AL. So pitcher ditch, the Blue Jays will make it to the ALCS.
Okay. That's a tough one because again, the Astros fan in me, but listen, is it easy to pick the Astros in the postseason? Of course not.
Right.
Because they have not played well, and to tell you the truth, if the season ended today, there's that game again. The Astros would be on the outside looking in. The the Blue Jays have probably a better chance or as good a chance as anybody else. So, I'll say pitch. I will. I mean, I think this is a good team. They've got good starting pitching. They've scored some good runs. This is another team that over the last several years has been a huge, huge disappointment. They have been, very, very much underachievers. This year is not the case, and they've been playing in a very difficult division all season long, and they've been able to hold off the Yankees and the Red Sox, and so I mean they've got as good a chance, if not better chance, than anyone else. So I'll just say pitch for that reason.
You know what? I don't have it typed up, but something I thought of that I want to ask you that I want to close out on, and it has to do with the injuries. Okay, pitch or ditch, Mike. If the Astros, because they are at, let's see, how many wins are they at right now? They are at 80. They're at 84 wins. Pitch or ditch. If the Astros had less than half the injuries they had, they would be a 97 win team. Pitch or ditch.
That's a big number. 97 is a big number. Wow.
I'm talking about pitchers hitting because they lost 4 pitchers to start the season.
Right.
So you're already behind the 8 ball. So let's
and then you were counting on a number coming off the IL. 97. How many is that? That's
like 12. That's like 13 extra games, right?
Yeah. But how many games over 500 is that? 16 is like 32 games over 500. Like I said, that's a big number. Could be. I mean, you can't. You're talking about a team that I would say that if I look at it, go on by just average, I think that would be 50-50. So we'll say pitch for that. I think that would be a possibility. I mean, it would be things would have to go remarkably right, but
because
I
think
that's a big number.
I think a lot of people in their conversations with their back and forth.
Well, I mean, we haven't. You're saying 97 at the end of the season. If they win 4 or 5 more games, if they win 4 more, they're at 88. So now you're talking about 9 more wins. I think that's a possibility. Yeah. So that I could say pitch to that.
I just
Did I do the math right? 16. Yeah, I think that's 32. Yeah. I think that's right.
And I'll never check your math without a calculator. So
you are not a math teacher, right?
I am not a math teacher. No, it was so funny the other day. I had a kid.
I'm just happy that I was able to do that without taking off my shoes to help count.
That's funny.
Only got 10. Got to have some more digits.
10, but these aren't fingers, so I only have 8. One of my students walked up to me and she had this algebra paper and it had all these problems on it. She goes, "Can you help me with this math?" And she showed it to me and I go, "That looks like English homework. There's nothing but letters." so she's like, "Coach Chancey, you don't know math." I'm like, "Well, get me past long division and I'm done. Like I can do long division. I can multiply like big numbers, but that's why I like the baseball savant. I like the baseball nerds that crunch the numbers for me. So I'd rather just tweet the stat line.
Yeah.
But hey, guess what? Brian McTaggart gave me a nod. He didn't even realize it.
Really?
I was wearing my Craig Biggio 1994 throwback jersey, and I was sitting in 217 right under the press box. He took a picture of me and he said, "Fan jersey of the game."
There you go.
I was like, "Hey," and then I turned around. I gave him like a little acknowledgement nod during God Bless America. He went, I was like, "Yeah." So, well, hey, this has been a good one. Thursday night, we'll be back. And right now, Monday and
hopefully
Thursday,
with good news.
Yeah, hopefully with good news. Hopefully talking about, hey, some people have fumbled. The Astros are really taking care of business. So Thursday will be, so Tuesday is game 1, Wednesday is game 2, Thursday it's a day game. So they'll have wrapped up that series. So we'll have a very clear picture of where the Astros are with 3 games left.
Well, clearer.
But then again,
I mean, it could still
clearer.
be a complete,
it might
total,
still be cloudy.
You know what show?
It could be that. It could be a shoot show.
There you go. There you go.
There you go.
I almost said it, but I refrained.
There you go. Well, hey man, Mike, thanks for your analysis. Thanks for doing the pitcher ditch. I like that. I think we can do that again and maybe expand and then when the Astros are done, when we get into the playoffs, guys, we're not going to be just talking about the American League playoffs. We're going to talk about the National League playoffs, and we're going to take it all the way through the World Series this year. So I'm excited about that, and got some other things brewing. So you guys hang in there with us. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tell your friends about us. And you know what? I think that's all I got. A's, don't get any ideas. The Astros have something to take care of. You guys, we will invite you to the playoffs if you just let us win. How's that?
I don't think they're going to do that because that the A's have always loved the Astros just like everyone else has.
Exactly. Well, hey, guys, from myself, from Mike, and everybody here at Wheelhouse and Back to the Bullpen, we want to thank y'all for going back to the bullpen with us. Y'all have a good one, and we are out.
Adios.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, man, I ain't talking expense. Strike 1, heat a low in the way, you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike 2, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike 3, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you